Not the 9 to 5. Introducing Katheryn Siggers and Francesca Marago in episode 189 of the BTS Creative Academy podcast, UNCUT, with me, your host, Martin Colton.
Really cool.
I love these shirts. I wish we had this.
Yeah, I know.
Or
We
something
kind of
similar.
need that's the
We need a
thing.
space.
We need a space.
That's
You
it.
need a space.
We need a theatre, that's what we need.
Yes.
But in between us both. 'Cause I'm
Yeah,
west and
literally.
she's east,
I'm
and
east
it's like...
yeah, like somewhere halfway.
Yeah.
Maybe not a theatre, because I
That's-
feel like we would be stepping on toes.
yeah.
Oh
You
no,
know,
there's no
true.
stepping on toes here. I
just use this.
I hope to,
Yeah,
I hope
we'll
to
just come here. We'll basically do the same podcast.
No, I hope I'd rather inspire and
Yeah.
give you the opportunity to do something. That's
Yeah.
what this Creative Academy is about.
Yeah.
It's
That's
about,
it, that's it.
It's about sharing ideas and making something happen.
Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So welcome to the podcast, guys. We've started. We're here.
Oh my gosh.
We're in. So we've got Kat. Is it
Yes.
Katheryn?
Either or.
Either or.
Either or, whatever you prefer.
And Francesca?
Yeah.
As well?
That's
And
it.
you're both from the not the 9 to 5?
Yeah, not the
Yeah.
9 to 5 podcast.
Not
yeah.
the 9 to 5
Thanks for
podcast. We're doing
having
like a
us.
collab here.
I know.
Yeah, we are
Like
actually.
podcasters on the podcast.
Why
Oh my
not?
gosh. I
It's
love
always
Wow.
best.
It's not the first time I've done a collab.
No?
No, I've done another one before with Ghost Hunters.
Oh, yeah.
Ghost hunting.
How was
with
that?
Ghost Hunters.
Was it a bit creepy?
We went around the building. We went around
no.
the theatre.
Did they tell you it was haunted?
Yeah, they had special devices
Don't.
that yeah,
can't.
yeah that were picking up on stuff, and I've got a few ghost stories of this place as well.
I
so.
need to know these ghost
Oh my
stories.
God, you know what I'm actually...
Imagine
I'm a
something
bit
just pops
freaked
up.
out now.
No, but the thing is with this place though, it's got such a good vibe.
Yeah.
Like if there are ghosts,
Yeah.
they're good ghosts.
Yeah,
they're
obviously.
chilled ghosts.
Acting
And
ghosts, do you reckon?
definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, acting ghosts, and well, it's not always been a theatre.
Oh, what was
This
it
place.
before? Has it
So-
been a church? It looks like a church.
No,
for
it was
some
like
reason.
town hall,
It was like a
wasn't it?
town hall.
Of course.
Church,
All right.
Churchill did
Victoria
speeches
Hall.
Do you see what I have to put up with?
here. I know.
Right, sorry.
That's okay.
continue.
That's okay. That's okay.
Rudely interrupted her.
So yeah, so it was a town hall basically is what it started as. Yeah, Churchill did speeches here.
Really?
Wow.
Yeah, so we've got a blue pack for that, for Churchill being here. And then in the wartime, people came here to, what do they call it, a commune?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, where people came to rest and die?
Oh,
And-
Oh,
goodness.
God.
Yeah, so
That's
lots
why.
of dead soldiers in here. So,
Oh, my God.
Oh, it's giving me the chills.
But I didn't
so
feel
if you hear any
anything funny
noises behind you,
It's just the
it's
ghost
just the
people,
ghost. You
yeah.
just-
Oh, that's
That's
fine.
fine.
Chill.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But they carry on, they do their thing, we do our thing.
love that.
Yeah,
I love
so,
that.
Well, that's fine. As long as they leave you alone.
Exactly.
Or they're friendly.
well, in saying
Have you
leave
actually
alone-
seen one?
No, but I have had a spooky experience here.
Really?
Yeah.
Do tell.
Right, so I'm on the stage here,
Ye-
and it's
yeah.
during COVID, and during COVID I spent a lot of time here alone,
Right.
and I used this as my space to write. So I thought, what better place to be than be on the stage and write a script for a play right here, and just have the freedom of the space of completely on my own. So I set up a desk and an office chair, and the laptop and notepad and pen, and I'm going through my mind of all the things I want to do, and out of nowhere, this piece of plastic hits me on the head, and I'm like, that's weird. And I think there's not just me. I'm not the only person to have keys to this place, so I'm thinking
Someone
there's someone else like
Yeah.
playing a joke on me,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
there's someone up the top there or something. So I'm calling out people's names and nothing, and I'm looking around and no one's in here, and then I'm like, that was a bit weird. This piece of plastic, and it was an odd shaped bit of plastic as well. I couldn't tell what it was from, but it really hit me. It hit me hard on the forehead.
Like
there.
someone had aimed it at
Like
you.
someone had aimed it at me. The next day I come in and a light had fallen from the ceiling where I was sitting. And this bit of plastic, so like other people said to me, oh, it must have been a bit
Was
of
it from
plastic
the light?
No,
No.
it was completely different type of plastic. And so it was like a warning, get out, like move.
God.
And yeah, if I hadn't have moved and left at that time, what could have happened?
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That
I
is
can't cope.
mad.
We need to sage the place.
So
Literally.
yeah, but
I
then they're
love
good
it.
spirits though.
Yeah.
So why,
They might
I
be
don't
playing
need
a
to
joke
do
on
them.
you.
They
but
wanted-
the light.
Yeah, well, they wanted to tell me to move, to go.
Yeah,
Didn't
yeah.
they?
Why do they
Maybe
need the
that's why.
stage though? But the thing is, you
What?
can. T-
It's because of the light. The light was above him.
I
so it
know
was
the
like a
light was
warning
above him.
sign.
What I'm saying is,
Yeah.
why? What? It doesn't matter. Don't worry. But equally, I'm going to ask you, why are we on the stage then? If they're telling you to get off the stage, why are
No,
we
they
on the
wanted me to
stage?
get off the stage to save
Day,
me.
Yeah. From being
To
hit by
stop
the
me
light.
from being hit by the light.
Oh!
Are you catching up now?
This is what it is like.
This-
all
so
the time.
this
I
is-
have
just
listened to the
can't cope,
podcast. So let's get onto your podcast, guys. So tell me about your podcast. I've listened.
Yeah.
I listened because a mutual friend was a guest on your podcast.
Yeah.
Niall, right?
Niall,
Yeah. We
who
love
I've been to
Niall.
his workshops. Have you guys been as
yeah,
well?
yeah.
Yeah.
Being actors, great workshop to go to.
So good.
I saw that he was on the podcast. I was like, oh, this is quite a chilled podcast. Like, there's something like really professional about you guys, but friendly and fun at the same time.
Aww.
Like it's a really interesting mix. Like you dive in and you're like, okay, there's this business podcast, but with these two friends having a chat and it's relaxed and fun, but yet informative.
Yeah. Well, that's really great to hear, because that's what we set out to do, really, was to inform people, but yet to be entertained as well.
I mean, we felt like there was no podcast really about freelancers and their lifestyle and how there's so many ups and downs with it all. You know, loads of people can be freelancers now, but where do you start? What are the how-tos? I mean, we're not here to give you like how you do it, but we're just here to kind of share our life experience, because we don't just do one thing. Like, we're actors, we're voice artists. I work in film and TV. Kat does photography and voice coaching. So we thought, why don't we just combine all of our creative skills and start a podcast called Not the 9 to 5? And just go from there. And we've just, we started in December, so we're quite new still.
And this is season 2?
At the moment,
at the
season
moment.
2 is launching, but we've
we're,
got season 3 coming
We're
up.
queued up for
later
that, aren't
on.
we? So,
Yeah.
How do you define your seasons? Because I like to think that we're in season 4 of this right now.
Right.
But there's no real rules to how we're defining things. Someone said to me, it should be like one season is a year. But I was like, for me, it's kind of like these are like journal entries.
Yeah.
And it's like the phases as it's progressing. Like
As time goes by.
As time goes by, like there was one type of podcast that was happening in season 1, and then it turned to something different in season 2.
Yeah.
That's very similar to what we have done, because season 1 was just us.
Yeah.
And it was just us finding our feet, really, in terms of like kind of the way we wanted to present the podcast, really. And then season 2, we've got a mix of both guests and us just having a chat as well. And like, we don't want to lose that, but it's also important for other people's point of views.
I think
well.
because we're like I would say like a community podcast. So just
I
turn this
agree.
off because it's constant.
She's just so busy.
So famous, guys, you know. Because we're a community podcast for freelancers, we wanted to be able to be that hub for people. So we thought bringing in guests as time went on would kind of allow people to connect to those people from different professions within freelance. Because we're actors, and so we could easily get lots of different actors on the podcast, and we love that. But we also want to get people on that we wouldn't normally mix within our careers, you know, like social media managers or journalists or what do we have, a graphic designer on
We had
there,
a model.
an illustrator. So like all of these different people and their experiences of freelance are very similar in the sense of the ups and downs, but from
Poles
different
apart
perspectives.
in terms of the work that they actually produce.
Yeah.
It's nice to get other people's perspectives on it.
Yeah, exactly.
Tell me more about what you mean by the community podcast. What do you mean by that?
So a community hub for places to go,
freelancers, yeah.
people to like freelancers to go right. I don't really know how to approach that situation. Let me see, you know, what other people have done, or what we have to say about it. And we always try to be as informative as possible.
Yeah. I think there's this whole consensus of like, there's a how-to guide to everything nowadays, and people want to make money from how to be an actor, how to be a voice artist, and it's like everyone has their own journey and their own pathways and the ways they do it. You know, everyone's different for a reason. There's no really set guide on how you can be successful in that realm, because your voice or the way you are is different to someone else, and vice versa. And we don't want to create this notion that there is a step-by-step, because there isn't. We're just people who've experienced things, and we want to connect with people who might have experienced that or might not have, or share their stories. And I think that's nice to have that community aspect, because I think there isn't really a place where people can go to freelance-wise and share that
I think also as well, just to add on to that, you know, freelancing can be quite a lonely place, can't it? It can be quite isolating, especially if you're just working on your own and you're not doing like a team project or something. You just spend so much time on your own. So we really wanted a place where people could go to feel like they had somewhere to go and had people to talk to and engage with and sort of share their stories, really.
So how do people come to you then? Is it just the community is just happening when it's on the podcast, or is there something happening outside of the podcast as well?
There's loads happening. Yeah. There's loads happening. I mean, our socials are definitely the place where we want people to go to kind of connect with us, and we try and put as much content out as possible in order to connect with freelancers. We're also starting to do LinkedIn as well, because that's a big place for freelancers, like a big freelance platform, really.
And we're trying to connect with other freelance communities like Upwork and Fiverr. They're both platforms where artists get onto. And so we're sort of interviewing people on those platforms too for our podcast, and see from that perspective of a more maybe businessy side of freelancing how that evolves and works. So like, we're kind of, I'd say everyone that I speak to, they kind of have a connection somewhat to our podcast in terms of understanding like what we talk about in some respect. But
exactly. And I mean, we're not excluding if you're not a freelancer and you want to listen to the podcast, like by all means.
Like I say, like me, as I dipped into it and started to listen to it, I was like I say, it was entertaining. It was informative and entertaining, and I really enjoy that. I really enjoy that kind of. I find it very absorbing, and that's where I found a love for podcasts before I started doing this. Where the podcasts that I loved were the ones that weren't just all information or just all entertainment. It was like the mix of the both.
You get immersed in it, don't you?
That's it. And like also that sense of like getting to know us as people, not just being like this freelance. It's like, well, hello, we're also people.
Yes, yeah.
And you can get to know us, you know.
And I got that from episode 1. Episode 1 was like you started giving you went.
It was so bad.
We were like, oh my god.
But that's the beauty of it, like just doing it, and like, and it doesn't have to be perfect, and it doesn't have to be all shiny, and. I think sometimes we want it to be like that. We want to present that. And she's looking at you like...
I am that kind of person.
You are. Striving for perfection.
In order.
I want it to be nice.
She's
and I
more
want
chilled
it
with
good.
that.
Much chilled.
And I'm like, Kat, like, you need to like...
She's like, can we
maybe you're finding like this like nice little balance between the two. And that's what I'm hearing and seeing when I engage with the podcast. That's what the vibe that I'm getting, that there is both. And it gives this really nice...
But also there's always someone in communities that is like me in terms of being OCD and like over the top with everything. And there's people like Kat who's like more relaxed but still gets it done. And
I want to produce good work, but like
in a different way. And that's kind of, we represent that, I guess.
I think we're teaching each other quite a lot as well, aren't we?
I mean, we have to kind of be everything on this podcast. You know, we're like editors, producers. We have to find information about
social media managers.
Oh my god.
Someone said to me recently, there was like, so you just do the hosting bit. And I was like, no.
No, guys.
No, it's the editing. Like, this is totally taken over my life.
That's how we feel.
Every day.
Yeah.
We're like, can we please talk about anything else but the podcast?
That's
you see how we said that same time?
My daughter and my son said that to me yesterday. Have you got anything else to talk about anymore?
Than the podcast.
Like, can you just like stop talking about But it's like, this is becoming a thing. And you don't, and I guess like, for me, I'm enjoying this. I think you guys are. Are you enjoying it?
Yeah. We enjoy it.
I can't stand her, honestly.
Well, how nice is that you get... I'm assuming you were friends before this.
Only briefly. We met last year in April.
Last April.
Oh, wow,
We did a theatre play together called False Accounts. And we just met there. And we just like had this like weird...
Like we got each other.
Sarcastic banter from the start, and I was like, "Do you know me?" And she's like, "Do you know me?"
Do you know me? Like, are you the same person? Because we are actually very similar in some ways, especially in our humour. Like we get that. But yeah, it was just we had that kind of like instant. Well, not actually, it wasn't instant.
She was quite shy.
I wasn't shy.
Let's go back to the beginning, day one.
Day one.
What happened when you two met?
Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
We did like a little intro in the theatre in Barnes, and it was like, we all met the cast. There was 10 of us, and we're all different ages, different age groups and stuff. I think me and you were like the only two that were the same age, I think. But we were both kind of just trying to get to know everyone, but not really. You know, when you're like in a theatre setting and you don't know anyone.
You don't know anyone. You're just like,
and you're just
like
so
your cast, and you're like
there's this awkwardness,
like,
and you're wondering who like you're going to align with. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, and you're totally overthinking the whole.
Yeah.
Whole
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
So we didn't really talk that much at the start. It took
just
like a few,
you know.
a few kind of rehearsal days went by, and then we kind of started. Kat was doing this monologue, and she was playing one of the narrators in the piece at the start, and it was a really, really long, chunky monologue, and she was kind of, I think, questioning herself on how to do it or how to come across. Because like, if you get a narrator part, it can be quite monotone, and you're like, how do you engage the audience?
That's it, and it was so much information as well, wasn't it?
So I was like, I just saw her do it, and I was like, do you mind me saying something?
Hay fever.
Bless you. Don't sneeze on me.
Oh, yes, hay fever. Sorry, everyone.
I've got it as well. My eyes are
watering as well.
at the moment.
I took an antihistamine this morning.
Yeah, no, it's bad right now.
Pollen count is so high at the moment.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyways.
so it was a monologue that had a lot of information, and I just wanted to engage, and you just was very helpful, and you gave me some suggestions.
Yeah, I just said, can I just make a suggestion? Like, what do you think about this? If you did it like this, or try it in this way, and then you did,
and then that was it.
And
then we kind of like
we just knew.
Yeah. Well, and then we did this scene where we had to play some pigs.
Okay.
It was a
satirical
play.
kind of absurdist, I would say, in a way.
Yeah. Sounds a bit bonkers. But.
Yeah. And we had to play these pigs, and that was it. That was the moment we were in absolute like tears
Hysterics,
of laughter with each other.
That was where you
that was really, for me, that was the moment, and I was like, oh, there's something here, here.
And everyone was like, oh my God, you guys are like these twins that are sisters or something, are constantly together at each other, but, you know, just sarcastically with each other.
And how did that feel in that moment?
It was really nice, I think, to meet someone who's like matches your energy in that way. Because sometimes when you do performances and plays, you meet people and you get on with them for that period of time, and then you don't hear from them after.
Yes, yeah.
And we both like feared this.
We did. We'd actually had that conversation.
Yeah, she was like, "Don't leave me." Like,
I was like, "What?
Don't leave me.
You
have to speak to me."
My friend
and I was
after
like, I have to check my diary.
This is it. She acts like she doesn't love me, but she does.
She does. No, I can tell there's love there. It's genuine.
Yeah. So then, we just stayed in contact after that summer period, and Kat was like, one day on the South Bank, she was like, I've got this idea for a podcast, like, would you like to do it with me? Should we do it? We're both very like multi-hyphenate creatives, like we can do it. Yeah. And I was like, yeah.
Because I'd done a couple of podcasts before this.
Yes, yeah.
When I was living back in Cardiff, I did a podcast called Off Script With, and it was kind of like interviewing creatives and kind of how, it was kind of similar to what we do now, just sort of seeing how different creatives got to where they are today. Yeah. So I already knew, like, in terms of the editing side of everything, I knew how to produce that, but I just knew that I wouldn't be able to take the podcast in the way I wanted it to, and to expand it as much without someone like Francesca, because we work very well.
Is it about sharing the workload?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
we both have our own areas that we tackle with the podcast. Yeah, like she loves editing. And
I do all the audio and video stuff. Yeah. And Francesca's a lot more organised than me, so
I just do all the kind of outreach and scheduling and thinking about the next set of topics and things like that to discuss on the pod. And now I'm turning my hand to like creating bloopers for the social media, and I didn't want to at the start. I really hate it, and I said to Kat, I was like, I hate it, but I'll try. So
what is it you hated about it?
I think it's just sitting there on the computer editing, you know, like that sort of meticulous listening back and then cutting but now I've kind of got the hang of how you use that software. I can do it much quicker. Yeah. And I kind of enjoy the funny bits more than like the more serious bits.
Okay.
So
that's what I do.
Queen.
I do the bloopers.
You do find some good clips.
Some funny bits.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do have some good stuff going on social media, and I think the social media thing is what drives people in to go and seek out some stuff on the podcast. Yeah. What do you think your unique selling point is? What do you call it? USP, don't we?
We got asked this recently. There's a few, I think. I mean, definitely where you're like freelance sisters, you could say. So that's our unique selling point in the sense of we're two friends that have banter, but we can also talk serious about life and the struggles of it.
And give that advice as well. Like, that's why we say you're freelance sisters, because we want to be able to give them just what a sister would, you know, that advice.
Like, we talk real. We're not like, we're going to fabricate what we're talking about, or we're going to censor certain things. Like, we just sort of just say it how it is. Like, if things aren't right, well, it isn't.
That's
and
it.
we'll just say that. And I think that's the difference on our pod. Is it's informative, but with a bit of general banter
in there as well.
Yeah,
now and then.
That's it. And actually, I think as well, like, one of our USPs is that no one else is doing it.
Yeah.
There's not another podcast out there that we know of, don't quote me on that, that is giving what we give.
Yeah.
And because there's some people who just do guest interviews, some people who just do the talkie, but we do a mixture of all of it, and we're also trying to create that community of freelancers. You know, like, I have this crazy idea, don't I, for Christmas party, freelancer Christmas party that I really want to make
This
happen.
is on the future.
This is on our goals, right? And because we always miss out, I don't remember the last time I went to a Christmas party.
No, it doesn't really happen.
No, it doesn't happen.
No.
But like, it's such a good time to celebrate, and like, no one else, you know, no one else is making it. So why don't we have a freelancer Christmas party? And that's all part of, like, bringing the community together.
As we grow, that's kind of what we want to do.
We do.
Hopefully. To kind of celebrate our 1 year in December.
That would be cool.
We could do that.
We would have a 1 year anniversary. Yeah. I'm just coming up to my 1 year anniversary.
Oh my God, congratulations.
Not quite there yet. I got about the 30th of July.
Okay,
nice. Will be the 1 year from
we preemptively.
So, but by the time this goes out, it might be actually close there, because I'm a bit in the future. So thank you for
we always reference the future.
And hopefully by that time, so I'm just starting to work out how to do a live version of this.
Okay.
There's the theatre, there's the audience, have people in, and I have a mix of entertainment, because most of the people I spoke to are entertainers, whether they're comedians or bands or jugglers or poets. Like, they've been something, so it's like bringing the two things together. So over the next couple of weeks, going to be working on that's my 1 year anniversary thing. But it's nice to have that, isn't it? To think like a goal, like, let's get to that point and have some way of celebrating. Have one way of, like, making it. It's a big thing. This is a big achievement.
It's huge to consistently be putting out that work as well. It takes a lot more than I think people think it's going to. There's so much work behind the scenes, as we've been discussing, but it's a huge achievement to make it to a year, for sure.
I don't know how you find it for, like, your podcast. Do you get overwhelmed sometimes when you have to create all this content, because it's just you, isn't it? So you're doing the editing.
I've been used to being freelance, being self-employed, and that's a place I prefer to be than being employed. So I'm quite used to it. I'm quite used to putting in a lot of work for little monetary return in the beginning. You know, working really hard for a set period of time for a goal to achieve something later on. I'm used to that. So I don't personally feel too overwhelmed with it, and I'm enjoying it. So
that's important.
That helps. What about you guys? Do you get that overwhelmed sometimes? And it's okay if you do.
I would say for me personally, and I think you do as well.
Yeah, I think sometimes when you're trying to, like, because we release weekly, but every time we release weekly, we kind of have to be like 2 or 3 weeks ahead. And that means content, that means newsletters, that means getting people on the pod for the next series. It's always thinking ahead. That you can, it's hard to be present sometimes. And like, we try and make sure we have a 2-week break between series to have like a hiatus, but I put that in quotations because it's not really, because we still need to keep posting stuff in between so that people don't think we've like dropped off socials.
The best thing that I've found with that is scheduling. So I have a schedule that I know what's going at, because I put content out every single day now. I put something up on YouTube and Spotify every day. And it's all down to me having a schedule. So it's not, and that comes down to the planning, and that it's not something I'm naturally gifted at, being planning, but having that format there to follow and being like, oh, on this date
is that,
and I'm scheduled now for the next 3 months. So the next 3 months, every single day I know what's going out. And that's how I find, and in that schedule as well, I've planned out times when I'm going to be taking a break. Personally. So I'm like, because you would with a normal job, wouldn't you? If you worked a normal job, you'd say to your boss, I want these dates off for a holiday. Well, you need to, I think we need to do the same for ourselves. So at these dates, I'm not working, but the work is still going out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I think we post manually, don't we?
We do
to
post
socials.
manually at the moment, yeah.
Do you use a
No,
scheduler?
socials I'm posting. So I actually post
Yeah,
manually,
that's it.
but it is planned. But
It's planned,
it's
yeah.
pre-planned.
Yeah.
So I've done all the work in
Right, got you.
advance, but
Yeah.
it's pre-planned of what's going to go
Yeah.
out.
That's how we do it as well. We try and literally keep 2 weeks in advance. So we're 2 weeks ahead at the moment. But ideally, because we've got 4 more episodes to launch, we want to kind of have that all done within the next 2 weeks maybe of all of that. So then at least when we get to hiatus, Kat,
You're like, how long?
can you edit please? Then at least we can have some sort of downtime and not worry about.
Because we do
everything.
need that break for sure.
Yeah, the thing with how I think is I try and keep being innovative and thinking, what's the next best thing? How else can we grow? How do I keep people engaged? But that would mean newsletters, which we've brought in now.
Yeah.
And so
we've added a newsletter.
that's adding more to what's already quite demanding.
Exactly.
But it's like, I think it's necessary because you want people to still be engaged.
That's it. And we want people to know when the podcast is posted as well.
Yeah.
And maybe some people don't use social media, and it's all that we want to cater to everyone. And,
yes. So have you one step before that, have you tried WhatsApp yet? For creating a community on WhatsApp?
No.
So that's something that I've found has really taken this off with the people that have been involved with this.
Right.
So all of my guests or anyone that's been connected to this podcast in any way, I invite them to a WhatsApp group chat.
Nice.
But I can send announcements out that are just from me, and people can engage directly back with me.
Oh, cool.
Because sometimes in group chats get a bit messy, don't they?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's me sending out announcements, and then people can directly message me
you.
back.
Oh, that's
so it's not everyone messaging on the chat.
It's not everyone messaging on the chat.
Cool.
And then I've got another group chat that's for networking. So everyone that's been on the podcast can say, hello everyone, this is what I do.
Oh, nice.
And I'm finding the engagement with that is building. It's really, some days I pick up my phone and I'm like, all these people are talking to each other and networking.
That's so nice.
Like this friend is talking to this friend that have never spoken before. And I'm building a community on there. And that kind of happened by accident. And it's quite easy to manage that. I would say it's a bit, I haven't gone to that newsletter step yet because of the extra work.
Yeah. But you could if you've got that community now, isn't it? And get their emails and... Yeah. But I know, it's another sort of work.
It's another thing to add to the stuff.
Yeah. On top of the already endless list.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
And it's hard, isn't it? It's hard when you're doing something like this, the financial reward isn't there in the beginning. Yeah. So how do you mentioned Fiverr. How are you using Fiverr?
So we're just connecting with them at the moment in terms of potentially sponsorship for us because it's great collaboration. They're Freelance Hub, we're Freelance.
Right.
And we use.
So you're not on Freelancer. You're not on Fiverr as Freelancer.
We are on Fiverr.
We are,
like individually. Yeah, we're on Fiverr.
But no, we're interviewing someone from Fiverr, aren't we?
Yeah, we are.
In the 3rd season, and then we're hoping, and then after that, they're happy to talk to us then about sponsorship. So fingers crossed, everyone.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, obviously, we do want to monetize it. We want it to be profitable, but then so that we can produce better content and more.
So that you can keep doing this.
Exactly.
Unfortunately, money is the fuel
that
keeps you going. You don't want to. In a way, I just want to create stuff.
That's it. That's exactly right.
I creative juices.
I just want to be like an artist and make stuff and do things. But I've got a home. I've got kids. Exactly. I've got to eat.
That's it.
We've got to live.
We've got to live. But I would like to go on holiday at some point. So nice. That would be really that would be amazing.
To some sun.
Yeah, just have some sun. So transforming it from this thing where you're creating into the monetary thing is where and how do you see it transforming into that?
Oh, that's such a big question.
I think we found that a lot of people who might want to be interested in sponsoring us, they look at what your following is straight away. And I find that I find that a bit bittersweet. Like I find that quite hard to digest.
Oh, I found that very recently. I went to the podcast show.
Oh, I heard about that. You told me
about that.
I shared it all on social media, which was good for some things. Some good things have come of it actually this week. But while I was there on the day, I felt very meh.
Right.
Like every time I spoke to someone, it was like, what are your numbers? What are the metrics? And it's like
Constant.
It's like, I'm 9 months into this.
Yeah.
No, but have you got 1 million followers?
No.
No,
obviously not.
Then kind of go away. It was a little bit, or it was either go away or pay a big fee to be part of. Like there was agencies there, and that was the bit where I was hoping to make some connections with the agencies, the PR agencies, but they were like, no, over 1 million followers, or are you going to pay us £3,000 a week? A week, yeah. And I was like, no. So are you already established? Have you already done the work? Are you already, famous? Are you already a name?
Oh my god.
Or if you're not that, then part with money.
I think as well, like, it makes me feel really icky because it's like the point of creating our podcast was to have that freelance community. It's more than about money. Yes, of course, we want to be able to fund ourselves to be able to produce the content for the freelance community, but that was never the point. And so it's like, I don't know, it just makes me feel a bit icky that people are so thing with numbers. They're so stuck on numbers, and you just go, oh, but the art.
The value. See the value there of what's being given. I like to think individuals are coming down to that. I think I feel like a change in the air where people, the more people I speak to, the more they're open to this kind of idea of they're looking for something authentic and they're looking for something that isn't about mass following. And they want to be, if they were going to buy a brand, it would be represented by someone that is, authentic and truthful rather than just has a big following that perhaps you could have bought. Because you can buy a big following.
That's it.
If you go on TikTok, you can spend. Have you tried it out on TikTok? If you want to get a following on there,
No.
Then you can go on TikTok and you can put in, I want a following of people, men between the ages of 20 and 30. And I would like 1 million of them. And okay, well, you pay for that.
That's crazy.
So you can literally pay on TikTok. You can pay for the following, and it's like, well, what is the value of that then, really? Than people that have just been bought. What is that value?
That's really
and so as more and more people become aware of that, and Instagram and Facebook are starting to do that now as well, like, what does it really mean? That number?
I feel that translates into so many different industries, like even in film work that I do, when I do like commercial campaigns, the models that they get, they have to have a big following to sell the product. And you're like, what happens to you just being, a great model and, being respected for like you and how you look and whatever.
And your skill set.
Exactly. It's hard.
I think it's going to change.
I hope it does. Because it's materialistic.
Well, it's materialistic, and I think it's a small time, like it's a trend that's just happening now. And as you become aware that you can just buy these numbers, it loses the value. They're not real followers. They're not people that are actually interested in what you're doing.
That's it. It's that authenticity part of it all, isn't it?
Because
that way you build followers that are going to follow you on the journey rather than just follow you and not even look at your content. It's quite pointless, isn't it?
The journey. The journey. It's all about the journey. And I do think people like that. I like that. I like following the journey. If I follow someone, it's about the journey.
Definitely.
Also, it's nice to see them grow. See
them go from, in a little studio in Kent to somewhere big in London.
To a theatre. Exactly.
And that's why I've kept, like, on my episode one is a bit, I had no idea what I was doing. The purpose of starting the podcast has completely changed to what it is now.
What was the original purpose?
The original purpose was, I had this idea that if I have a podcast, it will be like advertising for a business that I run. So it will be this, I'll have this creative academy where I'll teach different, or I'll either teach or I'll get other people to teach and mentor either actors, writers, directors, all different creatives, basically. And this would be a platform for that. But I quickly discovered this was a thing on its own. This was the thing. This wasn't a thing for something else. But that first episode, is really, it's just me and my best mate talking shit for an hour. Yeah.
That's what we do every podcast.
Yeah. and I had no idea, and it was just a conversation. And it is a bit rough going back on it, and some of the technical stuff as well.
But you learn as you go, don't you?
Yeah, like there's early episodes where all the sounds coming out of the left headphone and then the right randomly, and all these little glitches. But I like to I'm keeping that there to show the growth. Shows the growth. Yeah. It shows the now we're upgraded to these little
wow, these are cool
devices.
Microphones.
Don't get any ideas.
don't walk off with them.
Well,
but you do have to upgrade all this stuff, don't you, to keep moving forward on the journey.
We do. We're quite fortunate that we had our own mics.
Yeah, because
from
voice
voiceover.
actors,
Right. So we just use those.
Yeah.
Both of our mics are different, so we have to deal with the sound picking up from different mics.
And the thing is,
here we
her
go.
microphone is omnidirectional. Okay, so it picks up all around. Yeah, both sides. Okay,
there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, it is. No, it's bad. And mine is a cardioid, so it just picks up what's in front of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
it's not always good though, is it? Because if you move, then it won't pick up.
Right. No, but
whereas me.
Yeah, but then you also pick up what I'm saying. So when I'm editing, sorry for you, everyone.
No, I get this. You hear an echo of the.
That's it,
person.
And you have to be so finicky with it, so that it's absolutely to the millisecond.
So an upgrade on the mics, I think.
That's it. She needs a new microphone, everyone. Can we please sponsor her?
But with your microphone for your voiceover work, is that the right microphone for that though?
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's to find.
It's fine.
Yeah, I think it doesn't matter necessarily. It depends on how much you want to spend basically on the mic and kind of how you want to do it. For me, it works fine, my mic. I don't have problems with
don't
it
get me wrong.
because it's just me with the mic.
Yes,
I've not got other people in the mic with me, if that makes sense. So it produces great sound, and I've bought all the stuff to kind of help minimise any outward noise and stuff for it. So it's fine.
It is fine.
It's just yours is different.
It's just annoying.
Get over it.
So maybe once you do start to monetize, maybe that could
First
be
thing
an
we're
early
buying.
investment.
Or just get a podcast studio.
Yeah.
A podcast studio.
Yeah, with everything in it.
They're expensive though. Because again, at the podcast show,
I
I was thinking that because I've started to move out of here and I've gone visiting people, and then there's people in London that can't come out to here and things. So I started looking at that, and there are quite a few popping up, but they're expensive.
So expensive.
They're quite dear, and they charge by the hour.
Yeah.
So you look at the price in the beginning, and you think, oh, that's
really good.
That's all
That's
right.
what we did.
£60 an hour.
£60 an hour. Yeah, but then
then they add on.
Well, then they say they add on. So then they say, all right, cups of teas and everything like that. It's going to be
Mics
extra.
and whatever.
But then they also say, oh, you have to book 6 hours.
Yeah, minimum
So
or something.
so they say, all right, it's £80 an hour,
So really,
but you have to have 6.
It's like 800 quid.
Yeah.
Or not, no, that's 10, sorry. My maths isn't good.
Oh, I don't know.
It doesn't matter.
No, I'm not testing.
8 times 6.
We're creatives.
Yeah, we're creatives.
A lot of money.
We're not supposed to
We
do
don't
maths.
do
We're not
maths.
supposed to do maths.
Exactly.
Give me a calculator any day.
Even with that, though.
I know, literally. Need a spreadsheet, need Excel.
Exactly, yeah.
Have you heard about this Excel girl?
No.
That's massive on social media.
What?
Oh, where she shows you the different tips.
On how to do it. And she's got a huge following. I find her quite interesting.
Really?
Yeah.
The Excel
I think
girl.
you'd like her.
Yeah, because she's doing this informative thing.
Oh, yeah.
But she's doing the entertainment as well.
Right.
She's got like a couple of million following on Instagram.
Oh, just a couple of million.
Just a couple of million,
That's
like
casual.
she's she's only there, just there, But yeah, she's doing this interesting thing where she'll teach you how to use Excel, but she does these dances.
Oh.
And stuff.
Like
You got to check her out. It's quite interesting.
What's she called? Excel girl?
Excel girl. Yeah.
Love that.
Fair enough.
So good.
Fair enough.
I discovered her on another person's Instagram who was talking about like the process of creativity. Someone that I've had on this, Heather Parody, her name is, and she reviews what people's process is of how they do the thing. And this Excel girl, she says that she comes up with an idea and she turns the camera on straight away and just does it. So that there's no delay in between the two things. There's no planning. It's idea, turn the camera on.
Right.
Do you see that working for you?
I mean, maybe not.
No. Why not? Why not? What would hold you back from doing something?
I mean, I think if it was like general chat and stuff like this, I think we could do lives where we just sort of don't really plan. We just have maybe like a word for that episode.
A word?
Like, you know, like we say like a key word, and then that key word helps us chat about.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, what do you mean?
A word? What, like, as in...
Just a key word.
Like
the internet.
Yeah, you love the internet these days.
Love the internet.
Yeah, or like, I don't know, fun or something, and then we just talk about
Fun.
stuff related to that. I don't know, but
Fun.
But I think in terms of trends, we have to plan those trends.
We do
definitely,
because
See, I've avoided all that stuff, the trends so far.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, that's where I'm being different.
Right.
No.
Got you.
I'm sticking to this like long form content.
Got you.
And not too I know everyone wants to, like, they're scrolling and they want to engage with it within a second.
Yeah.
Like you've got a fraction of a second to get their engagement. But I am convinced that that's short term. This way of thinking.
Yeah.
Do you get engagement then?
I'm getting engagement on the podcast, and it's slowly building on social media. It's not happening quickly, but every time that I'm having someone on, and I'm sharing that they've been on, their followers are adding. So it is growing. And it's every piece of content is getting a little bit more. It's like 1% every time. That's
good.
That's fine.
I mean,
it's
podcasts
moving.
are slow burners, aren't
they?
Yeah. That's what we've always said, and I think we're quite impatient.
Yeah. Well, as creatives, we want to be just doing
now. And so it has been. Yeah, we have had to remind ourselves that podcasting is a slow burn, and I think if we've always said, right, let's think back to why we started in the first place. What was that core value? And so when we get a little bit lost, we always go back to, okay, what was the reason for starting in the first place? What was that intention?
What's the core value?
The core value is to create that community and to make freelancers feel seen and heard.
But also to be true to ourselves as people, you know. Like, we always speak real, like I said earlier. So our core values is to remain true to us as multi-hyphenate freelancers.
That's it.
And not just like, you know, if a success comes from this, not to just drop what our values are and what we came from because of that, you know. I've always said that. I've always wanted to do what I want to do and do it because I love it and to help people.
Yes.
So I think that's another
and not
thing.
Because it's going to bring like short-term success.
Yeah.
You know, it has to be the long game.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember that.
One of the things that I'm getting from doing this podcast is I learn so much from people, and I'm learning so much from you guys right now. And like, it's so interesting how like you're talking about stuff that's relevant.
Yeah.
So I'm talking to someone next week that wants to put product placement in. And that's like, wow, yeah, I'm finally getting somewhere. But then they're talking like about energy drinks.
Oh.
And I'm like, how does that
align
relevant?
with you?
How does that align with me? And then you're like, yes, but it's money. Like, just to have an energy drink sitting there. But it doesn't fit. And like, would it fit for anyone that's actually listening or watching?
That's it. If it doesn't feel right,
then it's not.
You've got to trust that.
You've got to go with the feeling.
Go with your gut.
I think so. As much as I don't want you put you off of getting money for your podcast.
Yeah.
I do think it has to feel right, you know?
Yeah.
It does have to feel right. It has to align.
Yeah. It's so easy to grab the first opportunity because you're like,
we're
being seen, or someone.
Someone recognises something here.
Yeah.
I mean, but the beauty is with podcasts, you can just skip through the adverts.
True.
People will just skip through it. There's so many I listen to that I just go, how is that relevant? Yeah, how is that relevant to this podcast that I'm listening
but just
to?
skip forward 30 seconds.
Skip forward. If you're interested enough and you follow that podcast, I think actually, I think actually people will just skip on.
Yeah, that's a good point actually, because I listened to Ryan Holiday, The Daily Stoic. I find his podcast really informative, and I love having that on. But yeah, the adverts on that are completely irrelevant to the topic.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just hit skip. Just skip through it. And he's earning money from that and doing okay.
Well, there we go.
So maybe there is that. Maybe I'm overthinking it.
Yeah, maybe.
That's it.
You know.
I don't know, but you've got two options there.
I have,
you know?
but that's given me something else to think about. Where I was like, no energy drinks. You're not. But no, actually, now that we're talking about it, it's like
they've got the freedom to skip on.
Yeah.
So
It's the choice of the listener, isn't it?
exactly.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. If they like the content, the adverts that are in between stuff you see on TV, or
the program.
they're not to do with the program, are they?
No.
So I'm being too precious, aren't I?
But it could also be like an ethical thing if you think. Sometimes I think about that. Like the product, like you said, it's an energy drink, but how good is this energy drink? Like what's in it?
Yeah, well, my son's like 18, and I'm always saying to him, like, stop drinking Monster.
Yeah.
Like, it's so bad for you.
Yeah.
And so then for me so I'm saying that to my son, and then,
and then
I'm not saying Monster are going to advertise with me, but they definitely won't now. But let's say like you get a company like that, and then you're like, well, I've just told my son all these years not to drink it.
I know.
And now I'm opening it up to the world and saying to everyone else, you should drink it.
Yeah.
That's it. Ooh.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a catch-22.
It is, isn't it?
It's like on our ads that we have, they're always ads of people that we've had on our podcast.
Mm-hmm.
So we try and again, connect with our community that way and stay true to the freelancers that we speak to.
Yes.
Even like the guy who did our jingle music, it's one of my friends, Ewan, and we have an ad for him in there as well, just as a thank you and also because he's cool and great.
Yeah, and I think that's a great form of advertising as well. And so I have had a couple of guests that have been on this that have paid to be guests on this, so they can advertise the product that they've got. But they, at no point in there did they say, "I'm trying to sell this product." At no point in there did they say, "I've got this. I've got this book. I've got this book." We talked about the book, but at no point did they say it costs $19.99 on Amazon. The link is in the description. But that person said to me how much of a boost that gave to them, that it was more than triple what they paid me to sit down and have a conversation.
It's amazing.
So there is advertising within this that can happen.
Definitely.
Didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Well, and I guess we're helping each other out today, aren't we?
Yeah.
That's it.
Collab. You guys have come on here, so my listeners will now go and seek out your one, and maybe your listeners will come.
Yeah.
We can hope.
Definitely.
So there's that side of the business as well.
For sure.
So what are the hopes and dreams for the future then, guys? What would it look like 5 years from now in an ideal world?
Let's go.
Or the live?
We go wherever we're thinking. Should we go live first? Should we go live first, and then we'll figure out where the podcast fits in?
Do you want to go first?
No, you go first. I'm always going first.
It's true, you are. Right, 5 years' time, I would like to be on national television in some sort of long-running drama series. That's what I want in 5 years.
Mm-hmm. Actress.
Yeah.
Acting.
Full-time. Of course, still doing the podcast. I'd still like to be able to do that.
Yes, keeping that.
But also,
you're an actor first.
I'm an actor first and foremost, absolutely. And I think for me, life would be the most fulfilling if I could act every day. I really enjoy the jobs I do, all the different, sort of voice acting I love, and I still want to do that even 5 years down the line. But acting has always been the dream and will always be the thing that I strive for. So in an ideal world, 5 years down the line, I'll be gracing the screens of the UK's televisions.
Katheryn Siggers.
How does that feel once you're there? What do you think it will be like?
Fulfilling and
Well, you know that you're there.
I'm there. I've arrived. And not to say I won't strive for more, but I will be happy every single day. I know that within myself, there's no other feeling like turning up for first rehearsal at, a show or being in the front of a camera or whatever it is. I get so much joy from it, from telling stories. And I think that's all I ever want to do is tell those stories and help people feel seen and heard and make an impact on different communities. And that's really what I want to be able to do with my career. So
nice.
That's me.
How different is your future, Francesca?
I've always said I want to be on the National Theatre stage. That's always been my dream. And I will be. I have to believe in that. So I would say in less than 5 years, let's hope I will be there. But also I'd love to turn my hand to being in some sort of TV series for sure. I think everyone says do theatre for the love of it, and that's always been something that I love to do. So that's like my first and foremost. But just generally being sort of, I guess, respected for the multitude of works that I do as well. I'm not saying that I'm not now, but you know, like you always kind of want to strive to be better and things. And I'd like to see myself in commercial world, producing more commercials and doing big fashion campaigns and stuff like that, as well as the acting, if I can juggle it. And the podcast.
And the podcast.
And the podcast.
So how is the podcast? Is it going to have anything to do with the future? Is it going to get you there? Is it going to be a stepping stone in any way?
I don't know about that. I don't
know. I think in a way, yes. Because like in the acting industry, everyone says you need to be your authentic self. Who are you? We want to know you as a person. And I guess in podcast world, you can do that in a way, especially with our podcast, because we're having a relaxed chat.
Yes.
So we want to kind of showcase ourselves as we are. That's our personalities. And if people like that and people see that, it could potentially help us in the future.
But it's not the reason why, but if it happens as a byproduct, fantastic.
Yeah, for sure.
You know?
I've found with me as an actor, it's definitely, even though I've only been doing this 10 months, it's definitely changed who I am as a performer. Because before, as a performer, I always thought of myself as I have to become someone else. I have to be something else. I have to dive into that character and understand them and forget me. Whereas since I've started doing this, I'm like, there's a character, but where am I going to fit within that?
Yeah. How do you step into
how do I
it coming to you?
Yes, and that's completely changed everything for me, and I completely feel a different connection with it, and I think as well, like the feedback that I'm getting from this as well, from people watching, they're like, oh, that's who you are. That person you were being before. We didn't. There was a reason that wasn't working out for you. There was a reason why I was hitting my head against a brick wall with doing acting for 20 years, because I was trying to be someone else, and things are now falling into place. Yeah. Because
you're being yourself.
You've let go of the.
Let go of that mask.
Yeah.
and that trying to pretend to be different.
Yeah.
So have you always done acting then? Have you always done sort of stage stuff?
From about 16, so
nice.
fairly early. I discovered, it's funny now you brought that up, I'm going back in my mind to where it all started. Originally I was going to be in the army or the Air Force, and that was growing up. I was like, right, I'm going to be a pilot in the army, and I kind of worked out that I only wanted to be that because I liked playing at that. So like I'd go to Air Cadets and I was playing at being a soldier or something. And when I was about 16, a friend at school said to me, come along to this amateur dramatics. And I was like, no way, mate. No, I don't. There's no way I want to do that. And he was like, look, I'm the only boy here and there's like 30 girls and you're going to have a really good time. And I did, and I had this amazing time, and I started to discover who I was, and I quickly started to discover that this was who I was, doing this thing, and everything changed from there, and I followed it from 16, but I still had this thing of, I must be someone else, I must portray an image that's different, and if you look back at my social media, there's so much of me with like an ego, like of pretending to be something that I'm not. And I always had to portray this like perfect version of my life because I was so concerned about how everyone looked at me.
Right.
And every photo was like filtered and shiny because I was like, that's the image everyone needs to see. But as soon as I got rid of that, things actually was a bit better.
Yeah, that's it. It's people connect with your authenticity, and even if they can't put their finger on it, they know why. They kind of know why they don't want to connect with you in a way because you're not being you.
Yeah.
You know, people connect with people essentially. not a shiny filter.
Yeah.
Really.
They do.
I mean, contrary to what we've just been discussing about all the followers and everything, because those people seem to have very shiny social medias.
Some of them do.
Yeah.
But this is where I say that I feel like it's changing. I feel like we've had a social media thing for like the last 10 years that has been all shiny and has been all like the Love Island stars and, you know, all them kind of people. And that's what I was like looking at thinking, oh, I need to be like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, those ones I think are falling to the wayside now. They're sort of disappearing now because the younger generation are coming up looking at it going, what's this?
Yeah.
Like I say, I've got 2 young teenagers that look at that and they do look at it and they're like, what is this?
Yeah.
This isn't real.
No.
Like, kids are smart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we all fell for it for a little while and yeah.
Even in voice work, I feel like it's changing as well. Like, people don't want a prim and proper version of your voice. They just want your voice. They just want you.
People constantly just want that conversation.
Yeah, it's like, stop putting it. Don't put it on. Don't put it. It's just you. It's just you.
Yeah.
Just
if you think back to like broadcasting in like the when it sort of kind of started in like the 40s and 50s of how proper everyone would talk
so proper.
and every word, the pronunciations and how far we've come away from that now.
Yeah.
I mean, you had the whole BBC voice, didn't you?
Yeah.
You know,
that's what I'm thinking
RP.
about. Yeah, that RP. Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's a bit more relaxed.
Yeah, and
So
I don't get any requests for RP. I did training with that years ago.
It's not as often.
But the requests are very few and far between now.
I do get the requests,
Do
and
you?
because I have an Estuary accent, right, naturally. But I mean, it's been kind of drilled out of me through my training. But I do have some clients come back to me and go, "Oh, can you just re-record that because you dropped your T or whatever?" Like, we've heard the Estuary twang. Sometimes they think I'm from Essex, and I'm like, okay, I'll re-record that, but because it's just so natural to me.
Yes, yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. I don't mind it if they state that that's what they want, and I'm happy to like re-record it. But I do feel like I lose my authenticity, like we were just talking about, when I don't have my normal accent. I'm just like, oh, but this is me.
Yeah.
You know.
And the audience engage with that, don't they?
Yeah.
You think about when you hear like an advert of someone that's famous that does a voiceover of something. I'm thinking of like David Tennant. He'll do like a voiceover on an advert. He doesn't speak with an RP accent. He speaks as himself.
Yeah.
He might put a bit of emotion to it and he might emphasise on certain words. But essentially he's being him.
Yeah.
And people warm to that.
Yeah.
People engage with it. Whereas the voices that are fake, we switch off, we know.
Yeah, it's quite robotic and unemotional, isn't it?
Do you know who I hear all the time? That woman, Diane Morgan.
Yes.
Philomena Kunk. I hear her all the time. She's got like a Yorkshire accent or something like that, but she doesn't change it.
No.
And she almost does that character as well, and it's like so identifiable as her.
Yes.
And I love it because I'm like, yes, we've got different voices now. We're not just all RP. We're not just all like the same sounding sort of thing.
Yeah.
I sometimes wish I had more of an accent in a way, because I'd like to have that kind of that difference, I suppose.
Well, maybe you've got to go back to your original self.
Got to go back to my original self. Do you know what I
Oh my
mean?
God! Oh my God, babe! Seriously.
Well, I wonder what would happen if you tried it out. But then, I guess, in the problem that we have as artists, we're hope that the work comes to us.
Yeah.
And so we don't necessarily have the say of how we are.
Oh, that's it.
So
Got to do what's in the brief.
that's it. So if the brief says RP,
Can't
or drop that T, re-record it, that's what you've got to do.
That's it.
Until you become that established name on the National Theatre stage,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
you're in then we can be ourselves.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. You're so right.
But until then, we've got to do what the
got to
request
grind.
is.
Got to keep the money ticking over, haven't we? That's it. You just got to do what the client wants at the moment. But we'll all get there one day.
Yeah.
I'm
We will.
sure of it.
We're definitely on the right path, that's for sure.
Definitely. You just got to keep being consistent.
Yes. So what other work do you guys engage in then? So we talked a little bit about voiceover work, acting work. How do you get that work? How does it come to you?
So for me, my voiceover work, I sort of I've been doing voiceovers for like 4 or 5 years now, and I've built up a bit of a client base. I also do use Fiverr for voice work as well. And then acting work is just through my agent, or sometimes things that I find myself. But yeah, I've sort of built up a client base, and for voice work at least, and that sort of keeps me quite consistent. That's sort of, I would say, voice work and coaching, like acting and voice coaching, is sort of my bread and butter. Keeps me going, keeps me on that stable kind of consistent, keel of financial stability. And
that's mainly through Fiverr, is it?
The voice work, I would say half and half. I'd say I have my own private clients for voice work, but then I also have, every day I'm getting orders through Fiverr for voice work.
Wow.
And then my students are all sort of private and have come to me through either my website or I coach for a voiceover academy in the US. So I do online Zoom classes and stuff for voice acting. So that's my bread and butter, and then the acting stuff comes from my agent. Although I do find stuff on my own too.
Yeah,
because
you've got to.
You
can't just rely on.
It's hard. It's hard. That's what I've found the hardest thing of being an actor is that waiting.
Yeah.
Waiting for stuff to come.
Then you question
You have
everything.
to make opportunities happen for yourself. You have to go to the opportunities rather than waiting for them.
Yeah.
Yes.
Constantly.
And how do you go to them? Through a website like Fiverr and make yourself available?
No.
So
I've never got an acting job through Fiverr.
No.
Social media.
Yeah.
Social media for casting calls.
Like Facebook groups and stuff, isn't it?
Yeah. Instagram's actually becoming quite good. If you follow casting directors, they'll often post about different casting calls. Where else? Just making connections, going to networking events, that kind of thing. Keeping your toes in with the right people. Keeping your toes in? That's not the phrase.
What? You're normally good at phrases.
I'm not good at phrases.
I'm the one
You're
that says
good at
them
phrases.
weirdly.
I like
Keeping
that.
your toes in.
Toes in what?
Dipping your toe in.
Dipping your toe in.
You're dipping your toe in it.
You've dipped your toe in and you want to keep it there now.
Keeping your finger. Isn't there one about keeping your fingers in pies?
Oh yeah, fingers in pie. Anyway, basically what I'm trying to say is keeping connected with the right people.
Yes, yeah. Knowing what's going on.
Having your ear to the ground. That's really how I find acting work. So yeah, that's me.
And what about you, Francesca?
So, like acting work, I'm on Spotlight and I get work through my agent, but also just independently through different Facebook groups and stuff like that. Voice work, I started a few years ago, not as long as Kat's been doing it. It was something I've always wanted to go into, but I didn't really know how it would work. And then I thought I think it was just post-lockdown, I decided I'm just going to buy a mic and try it. So and then I started doing stuff like that and finding lots of corporate voiceover actually for like different brands in that field, which I would kind of want to do more like commercials, but I always get more corporate, and maybe it's just my voice, like the way that my voice is, but which is fine, I enjoy it. But then, I've also diversified and kind of went into location management in film and TV, and that's what I've been doing for the last 4 years, is when the industry's not on strike. Can I just say?
Always nice.
Yeah. And I kind of worked on films, TV stuff and commercials, and I've really kind of enjoyed seeing the backstage side of the industry. And kind of appreciating the crew on that side. Like, as an actor, you'll turn up to set and you need to know your lines, and then, when they're ready for you, you go on and you do your thing, but you don't realise how much goes on behind the scenes with all the crew that you have to work with and all the logistics that you need to plan. And I suppose that's why I help produce this podcast, because I'm very logistically minded as well, and that really helps in my film work. So yeah, I've done some great stuff, and it's a part of the industry I never thought I would go into, is like the film world. And I just sort of fell into it after I went to uni and did drama. I thought, oh my God, like what am I going to do? Like I want to be an actor, but it's so hard because of
hard.
It's
what?
Hard.
It's
easy.
You just turn up and play games, don't you?
It's not hard.
That's it. We just play games. Yeah. But yeah, so it wasn't easy. So I was like, I'll just do internships in production and like work my way up. And then I discovered locationing, and I thought that was kind of like producing in a way, because you produce the locations essentially. And yeah, that's what I do as well. So I really enjoy that, and I have a production company as well that does just that too.
Just the location scouting?
Locations and producing. So we like service everything for commercials and TV shows and stuff like that, but we mainly get commercial at the moment. So yeah, it's kind of just a different world that I never expected to go in. And I had when I was younger, I had this fortune teller read my palm.
Yeah.
I love this story.
And I was 18 and I was auditioning for the Royal Conservatoire of Scotland, the acting school. And I was like, I want to be in drama school. That's what I want to do. And me and my mum were walking down the streets of Glasgow and we saw this woman who was charging 15 quid for a reading. And I was like, Mum, should I do it? And she's like, yeah, you should do it. And I was like, oh, I don't know. Anyway, so she read my palm and she says, oh, you're going to do really, really well. And you're going to get a really high score at your university. And I was like, what do you mean?
University.
I didn't tell her anything about me. She didn't know I was in the arts or anything like that. She says, you're very artistic, you're in drama, you've been doing that ever since you were 5, and it's true, I have. And she didn't know this. And then she was like, yeah, you're going to get a first-class university degree. And I was like, joking.
Sorry, university. University.
And I went to uni. I did a year at Oxford School of Drama. I went to drama school, did a foundation, and then I went to uni and got a first class. So as time's gone on, it's become true what she said. But at the time I was like, nah, she's not.
She also said she was going to have a blue car.
She's like, you're going to have a blue car.
Have you got a blue car?
Yeah, I've got a blue car.
She's got a blue car.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I didn't, when I got the car, I didn't think because she said I got a blue car.
Do you think there's something in that she set out a roadmap for you? And so you had points to follow subconsciously? Or was it spiritual and she could see something?
I think she could see something because she said lots of things about my parents. My dad, she said, tell him to be careful of his heart. And I was like, what? And then she's like, just tell him just to look after himself. And then 2 years later, he had a heart attack. He's still here, thankfully.
Yeah,
but
thank God.
She said that. And I was like, and she says, your mum's got something in her kidney, maybe some kidney stones and I said to my mum, I was like, have you she's like, no, I'm fine. But she always had this niggling pain at the back of her back. And through this time, because 6 years has now passed since that happened, she's had always been carrying this kidney stone in her kidney, but the doctors could never they never knew what it was because she was a cancer survivor, and they were trying to find do scans on her to see if she had more cancer in her body, but they weren't actually looking at the whole MRI to see that she had stones. And she kept saying, it's so very painful. And they're like, no, it's nothing. And they found it only recently, over maybe a year ago.
Wow.
And this woman told me, can you believe it?
I can't believe it.
I was like,
where is she? She's still there?
I don't know. We need to go to Glasgow.
Can you imagine if she
We
just
need to do a
disappeared?
trip.
She was just there for that moment and she's gone.
Oh, it's freaky, isn't it?
It's so creepy. But she says
freaky.
she said you're going to be, you're going to go down the realm of film and TV. And again, at the time, acting was just my life, my only thing that I wanted to do. And I was like, what does she mean by that? She's like, you're going to deal with lots of money and budgeting. And I was like, oh my God, I hate maths. Don't want to do that. But that's what I do.
Yeah.
I do that now.
Yeah.
I deal with budgeting, I do locations, I do producing. So she said lots of stuff like that. But she's like, you're always going to be in the creative arts and you're going to do some sort of presenting and, I don't know, with someone. And I don't know if it's this. It could be this.
Sorry.
Could be this.
No,
I don't
this
know.
is brand new information
You did.
to me. I'm sorry,
Yeah,
what?
that's what she
You're
said.
just sharing it now?
I just thought I'd wait till the podcast. Surprise!
Well, there we go.
And what about you, Kat? Have you ever had any spiritual moments like that? Have you not?
No, but I want them.
Yeah.
Want
No,
them?
I mean, I think for me, I am very spiritual. I think everything happens for a reason. There's nothing in life that doesn't happen for a reason, and I truly believe everything is always working in my favour, and everything is working as it should be. But no, I've never been to a psychic, although I do want to.
Yeah, it's
I
weird.
really, really want to. Since hearing what you've been told,
She's been so bang on though.
That's it.
It's crazy.
That's it.
Yeah.
There's definitely something more going on to this universe, this world, isn't
there's
there?
got to be.
Definitely.
I think
There's other layers, and it's amazing how many times the conversations on this podcast come back to the spiritual.
Yeah.
They like this, something about the creativity and the spiritual connect quite closely. Maybe creative people are open to it.
I think we're in that
I think we're more
flow state,
grounded.
aren't we?
Yeah.
We're more open to the idea of it as well.
Yeah.
Because I know so many people shut off from it and that's not true. How can you believe that?
Yeah.
Blah, blah, blah.
Skeptics. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. That's the right word.
Yeah.
But when you're open,
that's it. You're open
then
to
you're
the flow of
you're
it.
open
You
to
receive,
the flow.
yeah.
And there's definitely something I find spiritual in flow state.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's definitely something there that is, it's a different way of being, and I feel a connection to something beyond when I'm in flow state.
Yeah, that's it. I often feel like that when I'm on stage, when I'm doing live performances. I feel like, I mean, I think maybe because you're so present in the moment, perhaps.
It's like a transcendental experience.
That's it. Yeah, you come on stage and go, what just happened?
Yeah. Well, you know, you kind of let the words just encompass you, and you go with the notion of how you feel and receive, I guess.
That's
like
exactly what's happening to me here.
Yeah.
Do you get that on your podcast? Do you get flow state on your podcast?
Yeah. I think we sometimes just go off into different realms of chit chat, and then we're like, we need to come back.
What were we talking about in the first place?
Yeah, but we do that, for sure. I think the more relaxed you are, the more open you are, the more likely you are to receive and find out more things about different people and circumstances. See,
I've had moments in my life as well where I've had predictions, and I haven't always shared them. So I knew for certainty, a year pretty much to the day, COVID was going to happen. That it was going to happen.
No way.
I occasionally wake up in the mornings with these kind of like daydreams, and mid-March 2019, I wake up with this dream of my family are going to be locked in the house, the world is going to be like empty, no one on the streets, and my family are going to need me. And it was like a year to the day. And a year later, lockdown happens. There's no one on the streets. And in that period, in that year as well, it's like playing on my mind. Like I've had this like daydreamy thought, and I'm noticing things are happening in the world. So I'm noticing weird things happening in like China in like late November, and I'm like starting to add dots together. And then there's like this military event that went on, and people were getting ill there, and then people getting ill in January, and I'm like, is there going to be like a zombie apocalypse? Or like I'm thinking that there's going to be something like really bad, but all the way leading up to it, and especially like in the beginning of that year, I started really believing in that vision that I had, that the world is, I'm going to have to, going to go to standstill, and my family are going to be locked in the house. And I'm like, but why? Like I don't know the reason, but I know it's going to come. And I sat down with my sisters in like February when the news was starting to just engage with it, and I said, I promise you, something is going to happen. And apparently they went off and spoke to each other and said, he's losing the plot. Like there's like, I think we need to help him. Like, because I'd already started investing in like masks and kits, and like I started prepping. Like,
they thought you were one of those preppers.
Yeah. So I was like, I'd like tin of food, and I had a whole cupboard under the stairs. I was like, no, because I just knew.
Did you have a toilet roll?
It's a premonition.
Toilet roll had all the. No, I didn't get involved with any of like the like panic.
I mean, I wish I didn't have to.
But,
my God, it was horrible.
Yeah, I didn't have to. No, I was already prepped.
Well, why
I had the
didn't you warn us?
Because I didn't know what the vision was. Like I didn't understand the vision. And sometimes I still get these like little things.
What's your most recent one you've had?
Most recent one was I was standing on a stage with someone that I'd met recently in an acceptance, like doing like some kind of acceptance speech. Like was it some kind of like acceptance thing going on, like acceptance speech or a congratulations but someone I've only just met recently was there by my side, and I was like, what does that mean?
That's so cool.
Yeah. Oh, I love that.
Is it just a dream?
Is it just a dream? Or
I think it's premonitions.
That's it. I was trying to think of the word.
There you go.
Or is it all those premonitions?
Encyclopedia here. I get those when you enter spaces. I feel things.
You know something.
Like I'll feel like an energy is here. Or when you were talking about how this place could be having energies, I didn't feel anything negative when I walked in here. Nothing in that way. But usually I would feel something, you know, weird or off. Or I think some people have that ability to connect with something else.
Yeah, that like almost higher self in a way, isn't it?
Yeah. It's cool.
How do we get there? Is it just
Fortune telling.
fortune telling?
That's how we started. Sorry.
But like, how is there somewhere in like in the flow state of doing these things, like the podcasting and doing the acting and creating stuff? People find flow state when they're painting, don't they, and writing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that taking you to another realm, another dimension when we do that?
This is it. I don't know. I think it's when, I suppose it's when you allow yourself to not be so conscious. It's when you go into your subconscious, I think, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Jim Carrey does that. There was that Netflix show about it. Did you see it? Jim and Alan or something.
Yeah,
it was called.
Andy, when he played Andy Kaufman.
That's it.
Yeah.
And he was so encompassed in that role. He became that person offset.
That was honestly so weird to see, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's fascinating though.
Have you looked into him a lot, Jim Carrey? Do you know, like, he's very into the spiritual,
He is, yeah.
manifesting.
That's it.
He wrote himself a cheque for 5 or 10 million.
And then
and he dated it as well.
Yeah.
And then on that day he got paid for Dumb and Dumber, which was his first big movie.
It's mad, but yeah, manifesting all the way.
Yeah.
We're a big believer. We talk as one now, apparently.
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah.
We are big believers in manifesting, and I think it's all about the right mindset too, isn't it? It's like going in with the right intention and going, well, I will achieve X, Y, and Z, and then just putting that out there and allowing yourself to have the universe meet you, as it were.
Someone shared a secret with manifesting that seems to be working for me recently. That I say it's a secret, like we can talk about it now, but something different. So I discovered the secret years ago of manifesting. But one thing that had never been shared with me is about the feeling. So it's not just about having the thought, I'm going to win an Oscar. It's actually, how does that feel? Winning the Oscar. How does that, when you're holding that in your hand and you've got the appreciation of your peers, what is that feeling? And holding on to that feeling and using that to get you to the destination.
Definitely. Yeah. I totally agree with that. It has to be a whole body experience rather than just going, okay, I'm going to win an Oscar. I'm going to win an Oscar. Obviously, I'm going to win an Oscar.
Yeah. No, I think you should have to say, I have won an Oscar. I have won it. I am an actor. I am this. I think it's important to say that is what you are already, and that's what you've already got already, I think, to get there. That's what lots of people have said to me in the past. Because I always say, I hope that I'll be here, or I hope that I'll get this, or I hope people think that I'm good at this. Or, and it's like, no, you are. And you've got it. And I think believing in that mental state will get you there in some way.
Yeah, it's all to do with the mentality of it.
Your mind is so powerful.
It really
is, and people underestimate it so much.
I love that phrase, thoughts turn into things.
Wow.
Who said that?
Esther Hicks.
Oh.
Have you heard of her?
Well, that was... No, who's Esther Hicks?
Esther Hicks, so, oh my God, okay, right, this is going to turn into something. Well, she's Esther Hicks, but she also says she channels people. She channels like a higher being.
Oh, cool.
And his name is Abraham.
Right.
I think I've seen this guy. Does he talk on TikTok and he's got his eyes closed?
No, that's Daryl. That's Darrell Anker.
Right. Okay.
But it's
similar.
But he channels as well.
Right. Okay.
God, everyone's going to think I'm really woo woo now.
No, it's good.
Woo woo.
Maybe we're all a little bit woo woo. Right.
Yeah.
So that's Darrell Anker, and so but Esther Hicks does the same thing. She channels a guy called Abraham, and essentially he, through her, talks about thoughts turn into things. What you think will be your reality. So if I think I'm rich, then I'm rich. If I think I'm loved, then I'm loved. And it's all about raising your vibrations as well to like meet that thought. So kind of like what you were saying with the feelings, like raising your feelings to meet the thought as well, and having the two kind of work in conjunction with each other. But yeah, I recommend Esther Hicks and Darrell Anker for sure.
Okay.
Some interesting. I mean, it's not for everyone, but I like it.
Okay.
So what do we say to people that say, oh, this is like ridiculous, or this is woo woo?
Yeah.
Like, what do we say to people like that? Because we haven't won the Oscar yet. We haven't made it yet. We're still on the journey. So what do we say to those people that are non-believers?
I think you have your opinions. I have mine. I'm not going to ever try and make someone believe in what I believe. I don't think that's right about anything
Just
in life.
respect it, I think.
Yeah, just respect it. That's it. That's correct.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think.
But also, if they don't believe in it, that's okay. Maybe they're just not open to that. Maybe they're fearful of that. Maybe we always say stop fearing fear and fearing failure. I think it's important to embrace it and embrace the new and the strange and the weird and the wonderful, because like that's what makes people who they are. So if they don't believe in it, that's fine. That's okay. It doesn't affect me though.
Readjusting the way we look at fear and failure can change a lot, can't it?
Yeah.
I'm a bit older than you guys, but I remember in the 90s and the 80s and 90s, fear and failure were very much seen as a really bad thing.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like you'd brand someone as a failure, or you know, if you're fearful, you know that everything like that was bad. But I feel like we're going into a new phase now, or I've come into a new phase in my life for sure, that I embrace the failure. That I'm like,
It's a good thing.
Okay, I did that wrong.
Yeah, how can I?
I can now use that to make it better for the next time.
Yeah, exactly. You turn them into lessons for life, really, don't you?
Yeah. And if you don't fail, how do you know how to learn from it?
And how do you know what you're doing wrong as well?
Yeah.
I always think that, like, whenever I'm teaching, I'm always like, failure's good. It's teaching you what you're not doing right.
Yeah.
You know, or what you're not
do
necessarily not doing right, because I think obviously art is very subjective, but it's teaching you what's not quite right for that thing. And it's okay to fail. It's like more than okay, because it's the best learning tool, in my personal opinion. You know,
also, you want a challenge, don't you? Like in life, you want to be able to say, like, yeah, I went through those things and I got here because I've understood where you could be or where I've come from to be who I am now. You know?
Because if you
and
just went like
failures.
that constantly and then just got there,
then what?
Then what would that look like?
Yeah,
and
you might not appreciate.
Like how I don't know that it would feel very good.
Yeah.
I don't think you'd appreciate the journey, because everyone's journey can be like this. You know, not everything is streamlined.
I feel sorry for nepo babies. For those kids that wake up to a rich life.
Oh,
you know, they wake up, their parents are already established and they can have anything that they want, and then they get thrown into the spotlight because of who their parents were.
Yeah.
And then, like, of course they're going to have their own struggles and they're going to have a different journey, but what sense of achievement are they going to have in it?
That's it.
Yeah.
But that's their
Did I call it the right thing, Nepo?
I think so. Yeah.
I didn't know what that was.
No, I didn't.
No, you looked at me like I said something really bad. I was like, did I use the right term?
We were both like, what?
No,
I get what you mean.
Yeah, nepo baby. I'm sure it is.
I've
probably just been really offensive.
No, it's fine. It's all good. I suppose for them though, that's their struggle. That's their failure. Is that they can't achieve. You know, that's their big struggle.
Or to step away from.
Or they can do good from that base. You know, I think there's always a way that you can do things for yourself with the base that you have. You know, like if your parents are rich, okay, cool, that's fine. That's their life, that's their journey. But I need to establish myself. Who am I? What do I like? What don't I like? And you can just start like that.
I suppose some of them aren't encouraged to do that,
I
which
know.
is the struggle. And like, I suppose living in your parents' spotlight must be really difficult. Must be so difficult to be able to like actually find out, well, who am I when I haven't got my parents around?
Yeah.
You know, who really am I?
But that could just be down to like the parents and how they parent and how they teach their kids to look at things in life. You know, things don't just grow on trees. I was always
I had that one all the time.
Money
doesn't just grow on trees.
And I was like, okay,
it's like, no, I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when we're growing up, we do have a lot of wants and needs and hopes, and we think. I think some of us think we're gonna get it, but we have to discover that we're not. It's not just gonna come to us. We've got to.
You have to work for it.
We've got to put in the work.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And we're putting in the work right now.
Exactly.
Doing the podcast.
It doesn't feel like work, though, does it? It's nice.
But someone said there's a quote about that, isn't there?
Yeah.
About when it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
that's when you know you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like you never work a day in your life.
We've also got to figure out a way to get paid for it.
Yeah.
Well,
let's go back to that. We do have to figure out.
Yeah.
Even though it feels a bit dirty.
No, it does. But you've also got to think, well, if I want to do this and I want to make this my life, then I do, money doesn't grow on trees.
Yeah.
So,
One thing I'm going to launch this week is I've got, I talked about those visions.
Mm-hmm.
I know I'm going to be in Edinburgh this year.
For the festival.
For the Edinburgh Fringe Festival. I know I have to be there. I don't know what happens when I'm there, but I know I have to be there. So I'm going to go there.
Right.
So entry level going there is just jumping on the train and backpack and just work it out when I'm there. Maybe a little tent or something.
Oh my God, no.
But just I know I have to go to Edinburgh, so I'm gonna go.
That's your feeling?
That's my feeling.
Yeah.
I had a vision 9 months ago about being in Edinburgh, so I know that's going to happen if I trust those visions. But then it's been said to me by so many people that I should be going to Edinburgh that I didn't tell the vision to.
Yeah.
People on the podcast have said you need to be in Edinburgh, you need to be talking to people up there, and strangers have been saying it to me. Edinburgh's just attacking me. Yeah. So I was like, right, I can't really afford to go up there. So I was going to try crowdfunding. Have you guys ever had any experience with crowdfunding?
I've personally not, no.
Yeah.
You have?
Yeah, I did. I produced a show about mental health about 1.5 years ago, and it was all self-funded, crowdfunded, and so it was tough because it's kind of, you have this idea of, you're pitching this idea to these people, and you're hoping that they'll give you some money to invest in it, and it can be tough. I have friends who've also done that, who want to go to Edinburgh or want to do this course, and they're trying to get money and crowdfund. It's not easy, but you can get good money. I mean, we raised £2,000 from crowdfunding.
Well, that's about what I'm looking at to be able to get up there and not be in a tent. That's the kind of money I'm looking at.
Because it's so expensive in the summer now because of the Fringe. They just put it up, don't they, the prices.
I know, I wish I had family in Edinburgh. I don't, but I wish I did.
No.
Because I'd just be like, oh, can I come and stay with you for a couple of weeks?
Yeah.
Have you guys ever been?
No, it's on my list.
You've been?
I've never been.
Yeah,
so you did, because you obviously, that's where you met the psychic.
Yeah. Well, I met her in Glasgow, but I did go to Edinburgh just to work at the Fringe.
So you worked at the Fringe?
Worked at the Fringe. I did a bit of marketing for this theatre company there a long time ago.
Was it the Pleasance?
Yeah, it was in the Pleasance, So I got to kind of know a bit about Edinburgh. It's so nice. It's so lovely and gothic and beautiful. But just so busy. Everyone's there flyering about their shows. It's so competitive. Yeah. They're putting posters up on top of other people's posters. They're putting posters in shop fronts, and it's a hard beast, Edinburgh, to really get your show out there. And also getting the place for your show. You want to be in the best position at Edinburgh. You want to basically be in the Pleasance, essentially, as one of the top areas to be seen. But it's
What advice would you have to me for just knowing that I'm going up there?
Yeah.
I've got an idea of what I'm going to do there, and it's essentially do this on the street, which I've done a little bit of that already. Nice. I've been meeting buskers on the street, having chats with them, and that's essentially the entry level idea of where it would start. Yeah. Is just go and talk to people that want to promote their show. Exactly. I'm sure people want to talk to me and get stuff put on social media. So doing that. Have you got any advice for me? Yeah, I mean, there's this main strip in Edinburgh. I can't remember the name, but it's the central road where everyone is based when they start networking. And if you just sort of walk up that street, so many people are friendly. I think the more north you go, the friendlier the people are. Oh, really? Genuinely. So I think in Edinburgh, everyone's so open, everyone's creative and bubbly. I think if you've got a business card of yours or something to show for yourself that you can easily give to people and connect with them, I think that's super important. I've had people, when I've just walked the streets, go, hey, I'm blah, 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 I'm doing this show, it's all about this, da-da-da-da. If you're interested, here's a flyer. And they also try and get to know you as a person as well whilst they're telling you about their show. Things like that I think is important. Also maybe talking to other community arts centres and stuff within Edinburgh town and seeing what they're doing. Maybe they know
events that are going on in Edinburgh aside from the theatre shows that are going on that you could maybe attend, or even workshops. I think they do like street workshops and stuff like that you can get involved in Edinburgh itself. Yeah, during the summer, because it's like 4 weeks of like crazy creativeness, isn't it?
Yeah.
So just like doing all of that, I think, is really important. And maybe there's Facebook groups about the Edinburgh Fringe. I don't know, but
doing engagement before I go
doing
up
engagement and saying like, hey, like I've got this podcast where I run this academy. Like I'm really interested in connecting with more creatives about stuff. Like, is there, you know, somewhere in Edinburgh what during these days that I can go and talk to people? And I'm sure there's groups like that on Facebook or Instagram for Edinburgh. Or even contacting some of the companies that are maybe already scheduled to go up there and saying like, maybe you might want to work with them for a little bit, like do some volunteering or get to know them.
Yeah.
Do like a mini internship, like if you wanted to, you know.
I've already had 2 people on the podcast that are going to be, so I'm going to know two people that are up that are going to be there. So I've already got that, but I should be connecting to people on Facebook groups prior as well.
Yeah, I think.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Like, I think when you've got these ideas or these visions, you can't just go, it's just going to happen. You've got to put in some work in between, haven't you?
Yeah,
definitely.
There's a WhatsApp group I know called the Industry Peeps. Don't know if you're part of it. I can add you to it, and there's loads of creatives on it, all kinds of creatives, and loads of them are going to Edinburgh and doing stuff. So maybe like that way you could
that'd be good.
Chat to people.
I don't need another group chat.
I know. She doesn't really like them.
That's the thing. I don't.
When you said group chat, I was like, "Are you going to tell him? Are you going to tell him?"
It's so overwhelming. I'm like, nah. I mean, they're good. They are.
That's what you can do. You mute them.
I do mute them, but
it's just awkward if you want to like.
If you want to leave,
because it's like this person
has left, even though you feel guilty.
Savage,
Look like a right arsehole.
Katheryn.
This has been a wonderful conversation, guys.
Yeah,
I really appreciate you joining me.
Thanks for
just
having us.
A nice little note to leave this on. If there's anyone else out there listening and they want to start a podcast with their friend, what advice would you give them?
Know what your friend's strengths are, I think, is find out, you know, it's easy to be friends with someone, but can you work with them in a setting that is so collaborative and so diverse and ever-changing? I think question yourself first before you go into a collaboration and see, like, are we the right fit?
Do you complement each other, you know?
Like, what can they bring to the table? What can you bring to the table? Are they the same things or are they different?
Yeah.
And then working on that. Me and Kat both have different strengths, and that's what makes our podcast work nicely.
Definitely.
But also remember to have fun and make sure that you can maintain that banter and that friendship with that person. Because, you know, when you start a business venture, sometimes you lose that that spark that you had with them.
How do you keep it?
I'm not going to lie, it's been sometimes tough where we've been so in work mode and all we talk about literally is the podcast.
Work.
We haven't seen each other for a little while now because it's been so full on with everything.
And then we're working on top of that too.
Yeah.
You know?
You're doing all the other jobs.
Yeah.
Well, that's it, full-time freelancers and then the podcast.
Yeah.
You know,
So yeah, you do hit those moments where you're like, oh my God, we're both low in energy. We're not like our bubbly selves. Like today, it's nice that we've seen each other again, and like we're just like, oh yeah, it's back. Like we're here together again.
Sure,
like,
sure.
I think we need a bit of a Kat and Francesca moment.
We do, yeah.
But remember that it's normal to kind of go through those.
It's outside of the podcast as well. So like do life together.
Yeah,
exactly.
That's what we're saying.
Like,
we don't get to do it, and we need to do it.
Do friend things.
Yeah,
outside of
like we would always go like to the theatre or drinks and stuff like that in London, and we want to do that more now. But it's just this series has really like taken over our lives in all seriousness, and I think we just need to be like,
it literally has.
Can you not for a second and like let's just be friends?
Yeah,
yeah.
literally. And also I think like as well, just on a lighter note. No, I'm kidding. Very valuable advice.
Her T's then, did you hear?
I did. Very valuable advice, and I totally agree with everything you said. But I think also like don't overplan it.
Yeah.
Like don't overplan what you're going to do. Have the idea, have the intention, have a simple plan, but don't stop yourself from starting. You know, don't put the brakes on before you've even got there. I think people can get stuck in that thing of like, oh, we need to do this, we need to do that before we can even start. But it's just like, just start. Just buy those microphones.
But take it step by step.
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm a bit different in that mindset to you.
I think what I mean is like, don't stop yourself from...
Don't get overwhelmed by the capacity
by
of
having
a
to do this, having to do that, having to do
Yeah, I need to be here already.
I hear what you're saying.
Yeah.
Take it a step
by
at a time.
Yeah, that's better, yeah.
But
Thanks.
all right.
I'm
Take
in
it a
agreement
step
now.
at a time.
Yeah.
But like, but just start. Do the first thing. Like, come up with the name, or come up with the concept, or come up with the intention of
niche?
why you've started in the first.
Do you know what I see is really great about you two is you got quite composing ideas, like separate ideas, but you find a common ground.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it happen. I've seen it like it clicks. As you talk, you talk through it, and you find the way, and you clear the path.
That's it.
Yeah.
And you've got these ideas of having it all highly structured and one being free, and maybe there's somewhere in the middle.
We meet in the middle.
Meet in the middle and make it work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So actually, I've got one more question for you then, because we talked a little bit about the future and what your hopes and dreams are for the future. If we could jump in a time machine and actually go there, to that point when you're on the National Theatre stage and you're in a long-running drama series, what advice would you give to yourself from now?
I think don't be so hard on yourself all the time. Believe in yourself is the most important thing, I think. Like, do you mean like looking back? As in, like, if I was on the stage now,
we can go and meet future successful.
Yeah. So So to know that your path is there, your journey is there, and you'll get to where you want to get to. Stop stressing about every little thing that happens in life and questioning everything all the time.
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm always doing that, and I need to not do that. Kat says don't do that, so I should listen to Kat.
You should, because I'm always right.
She's like, can you just like close your laptop? Can you just take a break? Can you just? And I'm
Yeah,
like,
can you
but I
please
just need
take
to.
a
I
break?
just
And I'm
need
like,
to.
no, you don't.
And I was
No, you
like,
don't.
but like,
No, but you don't.
And she's
you
like,
don't. Stop it.
yeah.
Yeah, I think for me, kind of similar. I'd say don't doubt yourself, believe in yourself, and remember everything is always working out for you. Everything is always going to work in your favour.
What's the quote that you always say, that your mum says to you?
Of what? A problem shared is a problem halved?
No.
She always says that.
Just killed the moment, guys.
What
Just
did
killed
she
the
say to
podcast.
me?
What's meant for you will find you.
That's it. Yeah, what's meant for you will find you. Absolutely.
Yeah, I love
She's
that.
great at quotes, my mum, isn't she? Yeah.
But that's a good one, and you're exactly where you need to be.
Yeah.
That's it. Always. Always.
That's it. Yeah.
That's it.
Exactly.
Lovely.
You might not like it at the start, but that's okay. It's part of your journey.
That's it.
There you go.
So philosophical. Guys.
Oh, it is. We get
Interesting.
deep.
Marago,
We get
everyone,
on
Katheryn
the
Siggers.
on this stage. We get deep. We go deep.
Get deep.
I love it.
It's a theatre. That's what
It's
we
the
do.
theatre, yeah. Well, I appreciate this. Thank you so
Thank
much for
you.
joining
Thank
me.
you for having us.
If anyone was listening, tell them where we can find you. Tell them where to find the Not the 9 to 5
I'll
podcast.
leave it to you because I'll get it wrong.
So it's on Instagram and TikTok. It's at not the 9 to 5. 9 and 5 being numbers, not letters. Thank you.
And we have a website.
And a website as well.
Is www.notthe9to5pod.com, but 9 and 5 being numbers.
And I'll make sure we put all the links in the
And
comments
LinkedIn.
below.
And LinkedIn is
LinkedIn is new.
not the 9 to 5 podcast.
That's it.
Yeah.
Again, numbers.
Numbers.
9 and 5.
9 and 5.
Our email is not though. Our email is
No.
is like
Yeah.
letters, but that's fine. Fine. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
That's wonderful,
you
guys.
so much.
Thank you so much. And thank you for anyone that joined us on this journey.
We appreciate you.
We appreciate you.
Thanks for
We do.
listening.
Thank you. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Have you ever thought about being your own boss?
Or maybe you want the freedom and flexibility to work around your life.
Perhaps you're already a freelancer, but you're looking for a supportive community.
Then our podcast might be for you.
Not the 9 to 5 is a podcast for freelancers.
By freelancers. I'm Kat.
And I'm Francesca. We take a deep dive and sometimes comical look into the freelancing world.
With special guest appearances on our latest series, covering a wide range of topics to do with the world of freelancing.
Whether you're already a freelancer or curious about starting in the freelancing world,
There's something for you on Not the 9 to 5.
You can find us on all major podcasting platforms by simply searching Not the 9 to 5 and subscribing to our channel.
Or sign up to our newsletter, where we share news, tips, and exciting announcements about navigating the freelance life delivered directly to your inbox. You can head over to our website, www.notthe9to5pod.com, and click the subscribe button.
Not the 9 to 5 podcast, your friendly freelance sisters.